What's that fabulous music? Thank you, Sylvia and Nico. Thank you. Well, it's always fun, quote unquote, to choose a topic for a Sunday talk. So I ask myself, what are people interested in? What's going on in here? There's 1,000 topics I could talk about. How do I choose? And in ministerial school, when this question came up, it was a topic, how to choose a topic for a Sunday talk. We were invited to speak about what was up for us. Why? Why would we do that? Well, my thinking on that is because we are all here, right? No accident, no coincidence. We are all here, everyone online, everyone seated here today, everyone listening in. We're all here for a reason, together on this spiritual journey. So chances are the things that are up for me, I have to trust, are probably up for some of you as well. And I've learned to trust this approach. I can't tell you how many times after service people have come up to me and said, "Were you just giving that talk for me?" Or, "How did you know what I needed to hear this morning?" I mean, that's happened to me here many times. So we are walking this spiritual path together, and we all benefit from sharing each other's insights and experiences. I never speak about things that I have not studied, or not just studied, have experienced and tried out and practiced for myself. So here's a Gandhi story. And those of you who know me know that Gandhi is one of my most profound teachers. So he was living in an ashram in India, and people, as he was becoming more and more well-known, people would walk, sometimes for days, to his ashram and line up so that they could have a few words with him, maybe ask him for advice or something. So one time this woman came up with her little, 5, 6-year-old boy, and when she got up to Gandhi, she said, "Would you please tell him to stop eating sugar? It's bad for him." And Gandhi said, "Come back in 1 week." So next week, here comes the woman with her son, comes up to Gandhi, and he looks at the little boy, and he says, "Don't eat sugar. It's bad for you." And the woman said, "I've just spent 2 hours in line. I've walked from the next village. Why couldn't you have just said this last week?" And he said, "Last week, I too was eating sugar." So I follow this example. So what I'm talking about today, I am doing today. And that is deepening my understanding of the practice of letting go, surrender. That this is a spiritual practice, and it is a spiritual practice, but it's very much connected with the human nature that we have about, you don't have to agree with me, you don't have to raise your hand. I want things to go the way I want them to go, right? I think it's a natural state for us, right from birth as human beings. When we're hungry, we want to be fed. When we're wet, we want to be dry. When we're tired, we want to go to sleep. So over the years, I have identified a lot of my wants and my places where I want to control, and I've tried to let them go. So I've been working on this for years, actually decades. No matter how much progress I think I've made, this very morning, I woke up thinking, I want to get to Brecon United a half hour early. I want to have the perfect breakfast so that I'm not hungry at 1 o'clock, because of course we left home a few hours ago. I don't want any construction on the highway. I don't want any detours. I don't want it to pour and be windy. So this all happened within 30 minutes of me waking up. So you can see how much progress I've made in putting aside my wants. In the past, when I found myself falling into this control want mindset, I would chastise myself and say, "Vicki, really? Really? I can't believe you have not made more progress in this area, in the last 20 or 30 years since this has, come to my attention." Now, I don't know about you, but for myself, feeling like I'm not making progress or not doing this spiritual stuff right does not give me more energy or motivation to keep trying. So I've learned pretty much to abstain from that kind of self-talk. So I'd like to just take a moment to distinguish something that we're talking about. So when I'm talking about our wants, I'm not talking about our physical wants, right? If we're hungry, we should eat. If we're tired, we should sleep, right? We're talking about spiritual things, peace of mind, letting go, equanimity, balance, forgiveness, and the behaviors that I have that get in the way of those, like impatience, judgment, criticism, anger, resignation. It's a big list. So perhaps we've released some of these things at a burning bowl. How many times have we released something, and a month or two later, or maybe even the next week, we find ourselves doing the same thing again? This happens to me constantly. So I realized I needed a different approach, because you know the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing, thinking you're going to get a different result. Last fall, I was put on a wait list for knee replacement surgery, and I was informed that it would be a long wait. And my mind had all kinds of thoughts about that, but I have things to do. I have places to go. I can't be hobbling around all year. Why does this take so long? And many more. I did many thoughts like that. So fortunately, I did not hang on to any of these for very long, maybe a couple of weeks. And I'm so grateful for our teachings that helped me move through that. So then we were approaching, this is the fall, in the winter, we're approaching our candle lighting service and our burning bowl ceremony. So I chose to light a candle. I was invited to light a candle at the candle lighting service, and I chose Divine Order, this candle right here. This was to remind myself that this whole process was out of my hands. I'm turning it over to a higher power. I still have the candle on my desk to remind me that there is a greater process at work in this universe than what I can see with my little eyes, my little human eyes right now. So I felt good about that, claiming divine order. The next week was the white stone ceremony. So I started thinking about what would I like to experience in this coming year. And the answer came right away. It was wonderful, peace. That would be such a gift. The year and the wait for my surgery would be so much easier if I could just have peace. So I went to the white stone ceremony, already knowing my word. I wanted for my stone. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but here's my invitation. Still stay open, because what happened to me is I was wise enough to enter into the meditation and open up to divine guidance, and I had the opportunity to reflect on the word peace. So I'm thinking to myself, what is peace? Well, being at rest with the world, not getting out of sorts about things I can't control, remaining calm and quiet. And then this came to me. Peace is a result, an outcome, an outer experience. So then my next question was, but what stands below peace? Where does peace come from? What is the source of peace? What do I need to do so that the result is peace? And so my question to myself then, still in the meditation, thank goodness it was a nice, long, quiet time. Peace shows up when I do what? And as I sat with that, the answer came to me, surrender. Instead of giving up something like control, what about inviting something in, like surrender? So I brought my white stone. I think you guys also had these really big ones last year. Yeah. Thomas went out shopping for white stones and got these. I thought, whoa, this is okay. This is a serious white stone here. And so when I got home, what I did is is perfect, of course. I wrote surrender around the bottom. That's my foundation. That's my source. And on the top, I wrote the word peace. Peace appears, peace manifests itself when I surrender. Peace comes to me when I surrender. So surrender is the area where I've been focusing on for the past year, since January. And my experience since then has been peace. Here's some thoughts about surrender. There's a perception that surrender is weak, or ineffective, or passive, or that surrender means we don't care. Whatever. Ever find yourself saying that? Whatever. When something's not going the way we want, whatever. Well, that, my friends, is not surrender. That is, I would call that resignation. Two very different things, two very different experiences. Do you have anyone in your life or in the world that you think, if they would just fill in the blank? You can see so clearly how better their lives would be. What would make them happier? What would make their life easier if they would just... So instead of saying, whatever, what if we just stopped? What if we just stopped? How much more time and energy we would have if we just stopped trying to make or want someone to be different, or something to be different in our lives. I'll tell you, it frees up a lot of energy. Surrender is not passive. It's an ongoing, moment-to-moment, spiritually demanding practice. So the talk title is, How Brave Are You? It takes courage and strength to surrender. I thought of an example. I do aquafit at the pool 3 times a week. And sometimes when I'm there, there's a little children's class going on, right? And so it's so fun to watch all the different, so there's the kid that's like, just shivering and just wishing they were somewhere else. There's a kid that's like got his mom's arm, and you can tell he is not going to want to let go. And there's the ones that are bouncing on the edges, like, can I go in now? Can I go in now? So you see all that happening. And then sometimes, often, I see them, because this is one of the things we learn when we're taking swimming lessons, is how to float on our back. So, every child has got an adult with their arms underneath the child, and they're all floating, but they have not all surrendered. Because there's the ones that are just like, oh, they have this little smile on their face. The water's holding them up, they're just completely relaxed. And then there's the ones that are like, like this. Woo! Yeah, I'm floating, but they are not relaxed, and they don't trust. Like they are, not trusting that they're going to be okay. So how do we surrender? In word only? And not really letting go? Or with our whole selves, trusting that we are supported and we are okay? Can we let go of the steering wheel? Or the perception, the illusion that we are in control, and start relying on a power that is greater than us? Control is the thief of peace. I saw a bumper sticker one time, perhaps you've seen it. If God is your co-pilot, anybody know? Switch seats. Switch seats. Can we be brave enough? Are we brave enough to surrender? To let go of the steering wheel? Can we let go of all the thoughts about how things could be better, or people could be different, or that anything could be different? Which kind of circles us back to the power of divine order. Do we believe that there is a power greater than us at work in the universe and in our lives? Do we believe that or not? I have a prayer partner from ministerial school, and we talk every 2 weeks. It's been going on for 15 or 20 years. He's the minister of Unity of Savannah in Georgia. And we discuss all kinds of topics, and one time we were talking about surrender. And he shared this with me, that the first military definition of surrender is this: lay down your weapons and await further orders. Lay down your weapons and await further orders. And when I heard that, I thought, this is brilliant. I could already see a Sunday talk. I thought, this is so perfect. It's straight to the point. There's only 2 steps. I like that. So we're talking about spiritual surrender. Lay down your weapons. Like what are our weapons? What do we use to try to coerce or control or get our way or make things happen? I got another big list here. Anger, sarcasm, pessimism, control, aggression. I put these down. These are one of my favorites. Pouting, whining, complaining when I don't get my way. We have a whole arsenal of weapons. Can we just lay them down? And then the second step, wait for orders. From where? Well, we're talking about spiritual stuff, so obviously from divine mind, from spirit, from within, whatever you want to call that place, our higher knowing, wait for orders, direction. Just stop, put it all down, and wait. Wait in silent expectation, wait with faith, wait with an open heart, wait and be willing to wait for a while until you can spiritually discern your next step. When Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, was trying to sort something out and had a decision to make, he said, quote, "I will go to headquarters. The truth we seek is within." So he's using headquarters as a metaphor, right, for our inner spiritual center. The seat of divine truth and wisdom within each one of us. The place where we go to in times of, where we're open to guidance, in times when we're in confusion or conflict. So this may take some time. It may be instantaneous, await directions, or it could take weeks or months. And this is where the bravery steps in. Can you bear the weight? The not knowing, the impulse to get right back into the fray and pick up those weapons again, to try to control things or make things the way they used to be. Can you wait? What happens if we lay down our weapons and then open ourselves up to higher understanding? I can tell you from my own experience that this year, waiting for my surgery date, still waiting, has been one of 99% peace. I surrender over and over and over. I lay down my weapons of judgment and impatience and whining and wait for the order to unfold. So what are the gifts of surrender? It's tough. It's not easy sometimes. It takes courage. It takes faith. It takes bravery. But the gifts are life-transforming. In relationship to others, we can become more empathetic and compassionate, able to accompany them on their journeys without needing to fix them, simply being present with kindness and goodwill. For ourselves, we can stop struggling. There's an openness within us that allows us to find joy and peace. And as we get more and more comfortable with the not knowing, we are opening ourselves up more and more to discovering a deeper faith. We have some great promises in the Bible, and one is from Malachi. It's one of my favorite ones. And it goes like this: test me. So this is, the Old Testament, it's God talking to the people. God's saying, test me, and see if I don't open up the windows of heaven and pour out such a great treasure that you cannot hold it all. Namaste.